know what I played yesterday too? Hades 2. Hades 2 came
Oh,
out.
yeah.
So fun.
Is it good? I really want to get
good,
it.
man.
Yeah.
You gotta play it on Steam Deck.
Huh?
So good.
Is it good on Steam Deck?
Oh, bro, it's like made for Steam Deck.
Okay.
Bro, well, it's actually made for Steam Deck, but I was in like, it's very good to play on Steam. Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, I really want to play it.
10 out of 10.
out of 10 on Steam.
10 out of 10.
Everything about
the
game
first
is
game
just,
was so goddamn
it's
good.
just like sex.
Yeah.
It's just sex.
Oh,
like
look
the
at that.
controls are sex. The gameplay sex.
Is the
The
storyline
art is
sex?
sex. The voice acting, definitely sex. It's so everything's so good, man. Everything's so
Yeah.
good. They knocked it out of the park. I can't wait to see it finish. But I mean, it's the one thing I wasn't too pumped about is that it's early access. But I guess I just want to get it out.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Which might be a stupid question.
You may
because,
ask.
You know, sometimes when you use a term and you don't really know what the meaning of it, but you use it anyway. What does roguelike mean?
You don't know what a roguelike is?
I think I know what a roguelike
Okay,
is.
you tell me what you think it is, and I'll tell you if you're right.
It's okay. Firstly, I don't know what a rogue is, so I don't know what I've always. Okay, one thing that's always confused me is I think I know what a roguelike is from playing enough games where you kind of like repeat a level with different starting conditions and you progress through further as you go along.
Right.
So how does that make it a roguelike? What is a rogue first, and why does roguelikes make it like a rogue? What does this mean?
I've never heard of the game being described as rogue.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing.
Only roguelike, but there's also roguelite as well.
Okay.
So I think Hades actually falls, if I'm not mistaken, and gamers, I hope I'm not. So basically, a true roguelike is you don't gain any abilities like after each run to make your runs easier. It's purely just a self-contained run, and every single time you start from zero.
Yep.
Whereas a roguelite is one where you, by grinding and doing multiple runs, you unlock stuff like a 5% stat bonus increase to make your runs easier.
Or like an upgraded weapon or something.
Each subsequent time.
So Hades would be a roguelite.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe we can Google this.
Can we Google what is a rogue?
Rogue?
Rogue, the only time I've heard the word rogue is in like JRPGs where it's like a class.
Yeah, that's
Type in roguelike versus roguelite.
I've never heard of roguelite.
Yeah, roguelite, if I'm not mistaken, is what most people accidentally refer to as actual roguelike.
Right.
What I'm gonna Google
Okay.
what
But these are like the most popular games
Isn't
to make.
a rogue someone who is like
On their own.
someone who is like
Rogue.
actually paid to do a job or something, or like goes out. Isn't that what a rogue is?
what is a rogue?
Rogue is someone who like works on their own, lives by their
The
own.
genre of rogue games derives its name from a classic dungeon crawler called Rogue
Oh,
that helped popularize some interesting and unusual ideas.
bro,
It's
I've
from the
never heard of
80s.
this game before.
Me neither.
Oh, it's very. Was it a Microsoft game?
Oh yeah, look at it's from the 80s. Yeah, it looks like
Also,
it's
rogue isn't even a genre; it's just a game.
It's from the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so defined roguelikes have 8 specific design tenets: random map generation, permadeath, turn-based combat, grid-based movement, complexity to allow multiple solutions, non-modal so that all actions can be performed at any time, resource management, and hack and slash combat.
Well, that's just like some of them, I guess.
I mean, that's some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Hades is a roguelite.
Okay.
Because it gets easier the more you go through it.
You go through it. Okay.
yeah.
So it's just regression. All right. I got it. Okay.
The only roguelike then, that
Because
means...
you don't lose absolutely everything on death.
Yeah.
But the roguelite is normally preferred because you get to have progression in the game that normally doesn't allow you to have progression.
Yeah.
So that means I've played mostly roguelites and not
roguelites are
actual
generally more
roguelike.
popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get bored of doing the same thing over and over again.
I'd say the only roguelike I've actually played is probably Furei no Shiren, which is like a really long-standing Japanese actual roguelike where it's like if you die, you go back to like level 1, you lose everything, all that. It's fucking difficult but really fun. But
I think that like if you unlock stuff, but it's not like permanently boosts you, I think that's roguelike still because you're getting it within the run. I don't really know exactly, but I know that roguelite is basically rogue, but a little easier because you get stat boosts as you go.
Yeah.
But Hades is like gameplay's all revolved around that. That's how you get the story. Every time you die, there's more character interactions through the story of you dying.
Hades,
That's the whole point.
God, Hades one's so fucking good.
And and if
you
you get too far on like your first runs, they'll make it harder for you so that you die.
Okay.
It's pretty annoying, but it's nice being told you're too good. Stop.
Stop that.
Stop right now.
Is it procedurally generated?
Yeah.
For the
I mean,
most part, yeah.
actually, I think
Well, because the splits, right? Like
the maps are set out, or like there's like a bunch of different maps. I think. I wonder if some of it is actually. It definitely felt like a lot of the maps were pre-done, and then you just get thrown into one of them, and then you split into a path based on which upgrade you want.
But the splits are all random.
Because I hate procedurally generated. I don't know.
In terms of like, you don't like that you can never do the same thing again, or that you.
To me, I hear procedurally generated, and I hear, so fun is random then. Fun is just randomized then, I guess. I don't know. Like, I like knowing that everyone's sharing the same experience, or I'm sharing the same experience as like everyone else playing the game. Like a big reason why I ended up playing Subnautica was I saw the gameplay. I thought, this seems like a procedurally generated game, whatever. It's a survival game. But when I heard that, no, everyone gets the same map, I'm like, okay, so this is structured exactly the same way as how everyone else is going to play it. And that to me is...
why does that matter?
Huh?
Surely there's some games there where it makes way more sense to have procedurally generated.
Like what?
Like Lethal Company. Like having everything different every single time, completely random, is the point. Like you want to experience, like you shouldn't be able to go in and figure out where everything is.
Yeah.
Also,
you get like a unique experience every time, which is like exclusive to you, which is like a whole new other experience.
And the way a lot of games can go around this is like games like Balatro, which is totally random. They have seeds, so when every randomly generated thing is a seed. So there'll be like 1 million seeds. And then you can basically be like, if you wanted to play the same seed as me, well, you could type in the code.
Yeah, like Minecraft and games like that.
You will play the same. Yeah, Minecraft does that too.
Yeah.
So it is random, but if you wanted to experience the same everything, you easily could.
I don't know. It's like, even when you say that, I think, yes, it does work for Lethal Company.
And Minecraft it works for too. Minecraft wouldn't work if it was a set.
If it was all the same.
To me, it almost it always feels like here's an artificial way to make more content for this game and make you play for more hours without actually making more content. Does that make sense?
I understand where you're coming from. You're like the intention isn't there.
Yeah.
Like, there's no thought behind every aspect.
Yeah.
But I think for certain games, it makes way more sense to have something that is totally random and benefits from it. But I can understand wanting the experience of a purposeful game.
I think I just like having a purposeful experience that the developer intentionally made, instead of just being like,
what if they intended for the random though? I wouldn't say it's because it takes a lot of work, I imagine, to get the procedural generated right, like the kind of layouts you wanted right. So I imagine even though I don't think it's just let computer do work. I think there's still a ton of work that goes into doing it.
Maybe I haven't played a game. Maybe I just haven't played a game where I'm like, yeah, this is it, procedurally generated. All right.
You just haven't played a good roguelike yet.
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
There's some really good ones. I mean, there's like Slay the Spire. There's Darkest Dungeon isn't another amazing one. You got to play Darkest Dungeon. It's so fucking good.
You are saying words now. Describe them to me.
Okay.
Describe Darkest Dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon is, I mean, it's like the OG in terms of like, can you bring up a screenshot so I can help describe it? You hire a bunch of mercenaries, and imagine XCOM if it was a dungeon crawler. So you've played XCOM, right? Or you know of XCOM?
I know of XCOM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll go into a dungeon, hire your mercenaries. Maybe someone will be a rogue, and someone will be like a berserker, and someone will be a cleric. And you go into this dungeon and walk through it, and every now and then these enemies will pop up. But the problem is that you got to make decisions. You don't have a lot of healing. And any damage they do take, you have to pay or spend a lot of money outside of combat to fix. So taking damage is a real big no-no. And in the game, you basically have to get loot and then progress and level up your dudes. But if they die, they permanently die. You have to hire a new member. But you're going through procedurally generated dungeons and fighting enemies. But your characters also have stress. And if their stress gets too high, they have a heart attack.
So how do you beat the game?
There is the Darkest Dungeon at the end, but your characters have to be max level to go to the Darkest Dungeon.
Okay, so to get to the final level, you have to do something different every time?
Every single dungeon you'll go through is procedurally generated and different.
Okay.
And but as you can see, it's mainly like a grid layout. There'll be like imagine if you opened a map.
Yeah.
You literally click go this room and then you walk, and as you're walking, there might be a fight that happens.
Yeah.
Or you might step
Or maybe
in
nothing might happen.
See, I hate that. I would prefer
Why?
Why?
That's so good.
It's fun.
because I would prefer on you describe that to me and I'm like, I would want something like Dark Souls where it's like, okay, there is an end game. You do fight through, but everything there has been purposefully placed by the developer itself. If you beat Dark Souls, you know everyone knows what it means to beat Dark Souls.
Yeah,
because
but
everyone.
I think that works when you have like a one player and you're like it's a story driven and you're this one character in this giant world and your goals are very set and the story beats are there.
Yeah.
This one doesn't, it has a story, but it's not really, it tells it through like journal notes and stuff. But the idea is that you kind of almost churn through these mercenaries and you're constantly like having to be like, sorry, my favorite guy, you died.
Right.
And once they're dead, they're totally dead. Actually, I think you can get them back, but it's very difficult and takes a lot of effort. But it's really, really fun because you kind of like, it's literally all about like cutting losses the entire game. It's very stressful.
I like roguelikes and roguelites because they like constantly keep you on your toes as well, because you're just like, all right, I've never been in this situation before, even though I might have played the game for like 5-10 hours at this point, where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what to do here. One wrong move. And so you're constantly learning how to get better at the game by failing. And that in and of itself, I feels like progression.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I feel like by going through this one scenario, now the next time I come across a similar scenario, I know somewhat more than before what to do. So it feels like I'm getting closer to the end. And then when you finally do get over that, you're like, all right, sick. I'm further than I've ever been before. But now you're scared because it's like, okay, at this point, I don't know what's coming up. So I might run into another situation where I get fucked up. So yeah, I don't know. I like that kind of. I get your thing as well with just like a planned everything, but roguelikes and roguelites, they give like a different kind of like excitement.
It's so good. It's so good because your characters get stress, and if they get to 200 stress, they have a heart attack where they have a 50% chance of surviving it, but they go down to like 1 health. But at 100, I think at 100 stress,
Sounds like Fear and Hunger or some shit like that.
Dude, it's so good because there's this the narrator is amazing, but they have this really fucking awesome mechanic that if you love gambling, it's the hypest shit ever because your character will get to 100 stress and there'll be like a 20% chance that he'll like prevail through the stress.
Right.
And he'll get a team-wide buff. But normally what happens is that you kind of like fail it and then your team gets more stressed. And the more stress your team gets, the more debuffs they get.
Right.
So it's all about like managing stress and health. It's so good. It's really, really good. It is kind of like Fear and Hunger actually, but really well polished, an amazing game, and I really recommend playing it. Also, Backpack Hero is really easy. You can play it on Steam Deck. It's really cool. It's like you basically have a backpack and you're going through this dungeon, and again, procedurally generated dungeon, but your weapons are what you can fit in the backpack. And you'll have like a 3x3 grid, and your sword will be like 3 long, 1 wide. Then maybe you'll get like a shield, but it's 2x2. And then maybe you get loot. So you got to start fitting it in the bag. And then as you progress, your bag gets like, you can like add 3 squares. So you could add like a really long 3 square. It's really cool. Type in Backpack Hero. It's really fun, kind of like 30-minute game if you want to pick it up and go. Like a roguelite actually. Super fun. Show a picture of the bag. It's that one there. Yeah. No, below. That one. So your bag will have like this, and then they all do like buffs and work off each other. So you have to like chuck them in. It's really fun.
Okay.
Highly recommend it if you want a little easy kind of fun
30-minute game?
You can do like 20-minute runs and like pick it up. Steam Deck, super easy, very fun, and you can see the reviews are great. Like that. It looks like that, and then it's like enemies take turns.
That's cute.
So you start off with like that, and then it gets like it gets like crazy, and they'll be like, oh, if it's at the top of the bag, it'll do 10 plus damage. So then you're like, all right, I want to put it at the top. But then I got to move shit around. So it's like Tetris dungeon crawler with loot, and then then it gets really crazy later on. You can start doing insane combos and stuff. It's really fun. I highly recommend it if you want a really easy one. Darkest Dungeon is like this if you were stressing out all the time, because Darkest Dungeon also has like stress. It has like a mechanic where like you'll click to attack an enemy, it'd be like, it has a 30% chance of hitting. You're like, please. And you're like, I can't miss this. I can't miss this shot. And you miss it. You're like, oh.
Is Cult of the Lamb also like a roguelite?
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb's a roguelite too.
That's also a really good game as well. I really enjoyed
that one. Was like made for like streamers specifically. It's all
Yeah.
about like getting your audience to join in.
Yeah.
Even playing that casually is really fun too.
What other roguelikes do I like? What's some of my favorite roguelikes?
They've really been kind of popping off recently, haven't they?
That's because
The meme-
all the indie games.
Yeah,
are.
the meme is indie devs when they're trying not to make a roguelike. And it's like the vein busting in the head.
So many of them.
Slay the Spire is very good. Dead Cell's very popular. I haven't played that one. Risk of Rain 2 I was very addicted to for a while. It's really good. What else is there?
Rogue Legacy.
What else is there?
Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors is goated.
Yeah, I mean, that's very good.
I guess, yeah, Vampire
so
Survivors
many.
would be a roguelike, huh? Or
Roguelite, yeah.
Is there a AAA roguelike game? Or was it all
I
indie
don't think
games?
so.
Don't think
Or is
so.
it all indie games?
Well, I think because it's like, I imagine it's risky to make a game that has just a gameplay loop and not like.
I mean, it's risky to make a game, period.
Yeah, well, exactly. I guess
It takes a lot of time.
I mean, if you have to go to your higher up and you're like, all right, we're going to make them play the same game over and over again. And they're like, wait, what? No, we need set pieces. We need this. Oh, Inscription. Oh, it's one of the best games of all time. You got to play Inscription. It's so fucking good.
Card game? Ooh. I think I've heard about this one, actually.
This is,
Yeah.
don't look anything up about it. It's the best fucking game ever.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot I want to play.
Slay the Spire is a really good one. I haven't played it though, but
Yeah.
everyone says they like that. That one's a card-based dungeon crawler.
Shadow Corridor 2 as well is one that I've seen a few people playing.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones. I mean, I think the genre is just perfect for indie games because you can kind of make a core mechanic and just kind of like really nail it down and kind of just go through like the same kind of gameplay world over and over again. But
Yeah.
when you have a really fun mechanic, you're like, I don't give a fuck. I'll do the same thing over and over again.